No, one, pull it back.
Queensland.
One, pull back a centimetre.
Western Australia.
That's it, hold there.
South Australia. Australian Capital Territory. Victoria. New South Wales. Tasmania. Attention.
We'll now go back to Roger as the roll call's being done at the start now for the Interstate Men's Youth 8.
Thanks, Owen. And they're underway in this event. As we mentioned, 5 states in the last 8 years taking out the title here for the Interstate Youth 8. It's always a bit of a raffle to know who's going to win. This event sponsored by the Sydney University Faculty of Economics and Business with the Noel Wilkinson Trophy. And the title holders for the last 2 years are New South Wales, looking for 3 in a row. And Owen Nix has done very well on the tipping so far. He's probably the top tipster so far from the guest tipsters of the commentators, which is inside the printed program today. And the race is underway with Queensland on the far side, Western Australia on lane 2, South Australia on lane 3, the ACT on 4, Victoria on 5, New South Wales on 6, and Tasmania on lane 7. These draws were made a couple of days ago at the President's cocktail party for Rowing Australia, at which Reinhold Barchi and Andrew Guerin were announced as the new inductees as life members of Rowing Australia. Congratulations to Reinhold. I'll see Reinhold up in the stand there with his wife, and also Andrew Guerin's officiating here at the regatta. And as they come around about 300 metres out from the start, second from the inside here, New South Wales, perhaps going out to the early lead from Victoria alongside them on lane 5. Then across to the South Australian crew on lane 3. Pretty quick out of the blocks. Then Queensland on the outside station, followed by Tasmania, the ACT on lane 4. And Tasmania on the inside station back at the rear of the field. As they come to the 500 metres, a very tight race for the lead between the Victorian crew on lane 5 and New South Wales on lane 6. 1.07 the margin there, 124.56 to Victoria, 1.07 or a third of a length back to New South Wales, a further 3/4 of a length back to Queensland on lane 1 on the far side in third place, followed by South Australia. Close to them, 0.26 back in fourth place, followed by Tasmania, Western Australia on lane 2, and the ACT on lane 4. This is the Noel Wilkinson Cup for the Interstate Men's Youth 8 into the second 500 metres into these perfect conditions for rowing. As we see the crews in the Women's Interstate 8 going up towards the start. The ACT followed by New South Wales, coming in behind the other crews that went up a little earlier. And Western Australia just coming past our broadcast tower here at the finish, on their way up to the start for that event. Scheduled to start at 1 o'clock, which will be the penultimate event. So Western Australia going up to the start now past the stand here. As they came through the 1,000 metre mark, it was the crew on from Victoria still in the lead in 2:51.78. Pretty fast, slick time there. New South Wales 2.93 seconds back in second place, followed by Queensland on lane 1 on the far side of the course in third position, just ahead of South Australia, followed by Western Australia on lane 2, second from the far side. Then back to Tasmania on this side of the course on lane 7, and the ACT on lane 4 at the rear of the field. In the middle of the field, in fact. Victoria leading here. The combination coached by Simon Harrison, coxed by Amelia Agosta. In the stroke seat, Alexander Sharp. Behind him, Chris Bush, William Lockwood, Daniel Sweeney, Salvador Henriquez, Josh Dunkley-Smith, Tom Beattie, and Ben Quinlan in the bow seat. Leading through this into the second 500 metres, past the 1250 metre mark. 1 length clear over New South Wales alongside them on lane 6. Then over on the far side, Queensland still holding on to third place, ahead of South Australia in the bright red colours. In between them, the crew from Western Australia. Then back to the crew on this side, Tasmania, and bringing up the rear as the ACT on lane 4 as the leading crew comes through the 1,500 metre mark. Victoria in 3:20.79, 3.59, or about a length and a half in this class of boat, ahead of New South Wales, followed by Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia and Tasmania, and then the ACT. This is the Youth 8 for men. Interstate Championship for the Noel Wilkinson Trophy. Victoria on 37 strokes a minute behind their stroke, Alexander Sharp, as they come down with about 320 metres to go. A length and a quarter in front of New South Wales, who are running slightly higher at 38 strokes a minute, followed by Queensland right over on the far side, still holding down clearly the bronze medal position, running on 37 strokes a minute, followed by South Australia and Western Australia having a ding-dong battle for 4th and 5th position. 6th place would be down on the inside Tasmania, and the ACT on lane 4 at the rear of the field. So they come down past the 1800 metre mark, and it's all Victoria. They're a length and a half in front, cruising along at 37 strokes a minute. New South Wales holding on to 2nd place, but Queensland are storming down the outside on lane 1 and challenging them for that silver medal position. But it's Victoria, 100 metres to go in the Wilkinson Cup for the Interstate Youth 8 Oar Championship, holding on to 3/4 of a length lead. The fast finishing Queensland crew in a 2nd place, followed by New South Wales, fading at the finish of the race, but it's Victoria taking out the prize in the Youth 8s for the Wilkinson Cup. 3/4 of a length clear over Queensland in 2nd place, 3/4 of a length back to New South Wales in 3rd position, followed by the crew from Western Australia in 4th place, South Australia in 5th position, then follows Tasmania and the Australian Capital Territory in 7th place. The time there, 5:51.71 for the 2,000 metres, margins 2.44 and 2.07, unofficially down the page 245.7136, 5:51.71, margins 2.44 and 2.07. 2 to go is the Queen's Cup for the Interstate Women's 8s, and to be followed by the King's Cup for the Men's Interstate 8, the time-honoured event sponsored by Designer Paintworks, who are closing up their stall in 5 minutes' time. That's official now in race 595, the Youth 8 Oar Championship of Australia Interstate event sponsored by Sydney University Faculty of Economics and Business for the Noel Wilkinson Trophy. Victoria first on lane 5, 2nd Queensland on lane 1, 3rd New South Wales on lane 6, 245.7136, 5:51.71, 2.44 and 2.07.